Hey guys, today I want to talk about something we talk about once in a while. We touch on about dating and girls and stuff like that occasionally. And today I want to touch on that a little bit more, but I also want to talk about discernment. What's discernment? I want to talk about this because it's something a lot of guys, they don't even think about using, is their wisdom to see what's in front of them. And they just jump into a situation and it's a bad situation, but all the factors are right there in front of them. All the facts are right there in front of them that it's not a good situation. Now this goes for women, location, all kinds of things. Discernment is something that a lot of people don't use because we're so used to being in a fast-paced world back in the US where we don't take the time to think out problems when we have time to think them out. So we make a quick decision, and most Americans and Westerners are into this habit. You have to make a quick decision, and usually it's the wrong one, even though the facts are right in front of you. And the one thing that we have over here in the Philippines is time to see the problems and make a good decision versus a bad decision. And we have plenty of time for discernment, okay? And I wanted to talk about this today. A lot of guys, when they get over here, or when they're talking to girls, they look at the beauty of the girl. It's the first thing that attracts us, let's face it. And I don't want to make this a dating thing. I'm just using this as an example, but it does factor a lot into this, and it's something that we should talk about because a lot of guys, these are the first problems that they have over here. And I don't want to do like a bachelor course or anything because there's no bachelor course needed over here. And this here carries into almost everything that we do. And that's why I want to touch on it. When we first come over here, there's you see these girls, or you've been talking to a girl online. She's a real beautiful girl, and you come over here, you get off the plane, she meets you at the airport, let's say, and this happens in a lot of cases. And sometimes you start seeing some things that might not look right, and sometimes you have to act on those and say, you know what, I'm out of here. This isn't working for me. I see too many problems. A lot of the OFWs over here, me and Justin were talking about this yesterday actually. Some of them are used to being the person that's in charge of the money in their families and stuff. They're used to it. So when they get into another relationship, they kind of want to be the one that's in charge of the money again. You know, like if they're in a relationship with you or something like that, a lot of OFW relationships work out though too. So you got to be careful this one, but you want to look for things like if the lady starts hitting you for money or says, you know, I'll take care of the money or whatever. Be careful, because if you're not okay with that, it could be a problem. My girlfriend, what I do is I send her the budget each month. She takes care of it. She's been doing that for 5 years now. So I know where I feel safe with that. And if she makes a little extra money off of it because of exchange rates or whatever, that's okay. You know what I mean? That's inflation. So she can bank that or whatever, or use it for whatever the heck she wants. I really don't, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me because I put my own money away, you know, and I have a little bit of money put aside for me for emergencies or whatever. But when you see things where your money's disappearing, maybe she's sending a whole bunch of money places or something and taking care of way too many people that shouldn't be on your dinner plate, at your dinner table. Sometimes you have to put your foot down. Use a little discernment though too. Use wisdom to take care of it. Sometimes you need to just call her aside, sit her down, and she's gonna get mad. And don't give in just because she's mad. Say, look at honey, I don't have the money. I didn't come over here for this. But the first thing you should do is when you get off the plane, you need to have a sit-down talk with her and tell her your expectations. You know, that's good discernment, you know, wisdom to think these things out before they happen versus after they happen when they start getting hotter. You know, and that's the problem with a lot of guys over here. They get into a situation. I've had many guys call me about housing situations. Steve, I'm in an area right now. A guy rented me a home. It's in a really bad area. I'm surrounded by roosters. I'm trying to get out of a 2-year lease that I signed with a guy because at first I liked the house. I asked him, I says, didn't you see the roosters when you went there? He goes, yes, but I didn't think they were going to be that bad. You know, go figure, right? We had a guy here the other day, and he had discernment, okay? Richard was here the other day, one of our new guys, and Richard is a really, really nice guy. He's a photographer. And Richard saw roosters outside, and some guys are okay with it. some guys don't care about the Roosters. But he talked to the landlord, and the landlord took care of most of them. I think there's still one there, but it's not really a big deal. She said she'd take care of anything else or whatever. She seemed really nice about it. But anyway, you know, he found a beautiful place for a beautiful price, and it was one of the ones I showed not too long ago. This isn't Sinfuls. This is another guy, the guy that's going to be living across the street from me. His name is also Rich. But anyway, you know, he used discernment. Okay, most of the guys here that come here don't even research. They really don't research. They do a little bit of research, just enough to get them by, and then they start having all kinds of failing episodes and stuff like that because they didn't ask, they didn't talk to people, they didn't ask the right questions, or they went to the wrong people, or they just didn't do, you know, like I said, do proper research. That's discernment. You have to have the wisdom to think ahead. Thinking ahead is what's going to get you out of problems over here. Seeing facts in front of you and saying, okay, from the facts that are in front of me, what can I take from that? And you have to kind of have the wisdom to think it out. Say, well, geez, you know, I see this, this, and this, and that's kind of telling me that this is not going to end well or whatever. Some people don't see that. And, you know, where we're retired now, you should take the time to start noticing things more. I'm a very observant person, and it helps me with my videos too. Being observant has helped me more than anything in the world. It helps you with your wisdom, your discernment. It helps you to think things out more objectively, in a better way. And you just see things different when you start watching more. Because when you're watching more, you're taking in all that stuff, the experience around you. Watch your girlfriend that you're with. Make sure she is good marriage material. Before you go to rent a place, walk around the house, check it out, look out back, see what's going on, see how nice it is, see how nice your neighbors are. If your neighbors are nice, generally it's going to be a good place. And you can ask your neighbors, hey, is it noisy around here? How is it? Is it quiet? Most of your neighbors will tell you it's okay, but check anyway, because what's good for them is not necessarily good for you, you know? So just be careful about that. But with this dating thing, be careful, because usually there's a lot of factors a lot of facts right in front of your face when you meet the girl, where you meet her, her family. If her family's always, you know, looking for money, if they're poverty stricken or something like that, good chance they're going to probably ask you for money. And a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll think, well, geez, I'll tell her I'm not going to give her family any money. But then after they get married to him, she starts hitting him up for money, figuring that she's married now, it's his family too. And a lot of Americans will say, no, I told you in the beginning. But in her mind, she's thinking, well, it's his family just like it's my family. You follow what I'm saying? So that's where, you know, you have to have discernment, because you have to understand that Philippines is a different culture. They think differently than us. They are more family driven, okay? Their families are more important than you are. And in a lot of cases, and I see this even amongst Filipinos, and this is a driving force for people to split up over here, is that when Filipinos get married, when the two of them come together, what happens is either the wife or the male, and it works both ways in this case sometimes, because I've seen it in both cases, where either the wife or the male, one of them is more family driven than the other one, and they'll start giving money to their family when they start hitting them up for money, or they'll start putting them up in their house or whatever. And the other spouse is kind of stuck out there like, wow, he loves his family more than he loves me. I want to be alone. I want to be with my kids. I want to, you know, I see this with many people that I've come in contact with, and I see it all the time. And that's what causes divorces over here. Not divorces, but, you know, breakups over here, separations and annulments and stuff. That's why so many girls over here and so many guys over here are still married. It's hard for them to get an annulment. It causes a lot of problems in, you know, in the culture over here, because of the fact that they don't allow divorce, but you have to go chase after that annulment. The annulment's about $4,000. Most Filipinos can't afford it. So it causes people to live together. And the Catholic Church is part of that cause, because they don't believe in divorce. So the people that are from other Christian religions that do believe in divorce, that you should be able to get a divorce or whatever, suffer from that, you know. And I'm not parking all that blame on the Catholic Church. It's, you know, there's a lot of things that ties in with. But the Catholic Church was a giant force in that, in some other countries too. But the Philippines is one of the last countries that doesn't have divorce over here. You have to go get an annulment. And, you know, it's, like I said, it's a very costly thing to do. And if you use that wisdom and discernment ahead of time, you won't be there yourself. So, you know, if you stay on top of things. And, you know, it's also about working with people too. Half the battle over here is the discernment. The other half is working with people, trying to be friendly with people, making deals with people. If you show up at a house and there's a bunch of roosters there, talk to the landlord and say, hey, listen, are those yours? If she or he says yes, say, listen, I don't want a bunch of roosters around me. Can you put them someplace where I won't hear them, like far away from here or someplace else? And if they say yes, then you're okay. And if they say, you know, say, listen, if I have to pay you to put you know, kill them or whatever, I'll pay you. How much is it going to cost? You know, I just don't want any more roosters here. If it's a barking dog, talk to them. Is there some way we can resolve the barking dog issue so I don't have to listen to that at 5 o'clock in the morning or all night long? There are ways. You know, sometimes you can pay the person and maybe they'll put them with a brother or something like that, or they'll put them on someplace where they know that the dog will still be safe or whatever. You can do that. It's okay. You know, chickens, you can eat them. Roosters, you can eat them. They might not be, the roosters might be a little bit tough, but you can eat them. And it's okay, you know. And, you know, like I said, try to use your head. Try to use discernment. You know, God gave you that discernment for something, to use it in your life, to better your life. If you use it, it's a good skill, okay? Wisdom is a good skill, but it's a practice too. It's something that we have to do in our lives. And sometimes, you know, I'm not trying to talk about meditation and stuff like that, but sometimes meditate on your issues of the day at the end of the day, or think about your issues at the end of the day, and just see how you can resolve those, you know, and think about play it out in your head how that can turn out. And sometimes that helps with your decision process a lot more. A lot of the older guys, they just want to relax, and sometimes use a little bit of that time for discernment, to take time out and think out your problems. That way there you'll have less problems and you'll be in a better place. God bless, guys. Take care.